Hi students, this is AJ sir. Let's study 10th standard ICSE Math, chapter 23, graphical representations. Exercise 23, cancel question 1 and 1.1 and 1.2, but 1.3 and 1.4 have to be done. Let's do 1.4 now. We have to create a histogram which looks like this. We have buildings corresponding to the individual frequencies, but they are adjacent to each other. That is, they are touching each other, not like a bar chart where they are separate. We have class intervals which are continuous. So 8 to 12, 12 to 16 and so on are the class intervals. The frequency of class interval 8 to 12 is 9. The frequency of class interval 12 to 16 is 16 and so on. So the frequency is always on the y-axis and class interval is always on the x-axis. The width of each building, that is the width of each class interval, has to be exactly same. I see that it is 4 in this case. 4, 4, 4. Since there is a jump from 0 to 8, we'll have to draw a kink denoting the jump. Now in this sum, the class interval isn't given directly. The class mark is given, which is the midpoint. For example, here the class marks would have been 10, 14, 18 and so on, the midpoints. So from this, how can we identify the class intervals? Again, look at the interval between two class marks. 16 to 24, the gap is of 8. Remember, this gap would be the width of each class interval. For example, here, when I said that the class mark is 10 and 14 and 18, what is the gap between two class marks? 4. Which is exactly equal to the width of each building. So that's a big hint for us. Since the difference is of 8, that means each class interval will have a width of 8. So what should be the class interval such that this is the midpoint of that and the width of that class interval should be 8? The trick here is find the midpoint between these 2 points. 16 to 24, what is the midpoint? 20. 24 to 32, midpoint is 28. Here 36. Here 44, 52 and 60. So these are the class intervals: 20 to 28, 28 to 36, 36 to 44, 44 to 52, 52 to 60. But what about here? 62, well, difference should be of 8, isn't it? So 68. And here 20, it should start from what number? Can you guess? That's right, 12. So now we got all the class intervals, so we can make a table. 12 to 20, frequency 8 and so on. Now it is easy for us to draw a histogram based on this data. The class interval will be on the x-axis like this. 0 to 12 was a jump, so I drew a kink. Then 12 to 20, 20 to 28, gaps of 8. Frequency is on the y-axis, so please mention F. And first one is 8. Next one is 12 and so on. Notice that two small boxes equal to 1 in this sum. That's the scale we have used. Next, cancel question 2.1 and 2.2 and even 3.2. 3.1 is for homework. Let's start with question number 4. They've given some data. So first we'll make a frequency table out of it. The class intervals they have mentioned are 21 to 30, 31 to 40. Ideally they should have been continuous, but we'll convert it into continuous tables later. Here we'll cut 75 and that one bar would come here. Then we'll cut 67, that will be in the range of 61 to 70, so it'll be here, and so on. We'll write the tally marks, and remember, after every 4 tally marks, the 5th one makes it a bunch, so it's easy for us to count in the end. So here we've got frequency 4, 5 plus 4 9, 5 plus 4 9, and so on. So this is called a frequency table. That's what they have asked us to do. Now what if the class intervals were continuous? For example, what if it was 20 to 30 and 30 to 40? And if the number in the data was 30, then would it come in 20 to 30 class interval or 30 to 40? Well, always go for the higher class interval, that is 30 to 40. Next, they've asked us to draw a histogram. Well, cancel that, Roman number 1. Instead, let's just do an ogive. Otherwise, we would have to use 2 graph papers, one for this and one for that. And on every graph paper, write the proper question number. We already know how to draw a histogram, so no need to do that. Let's do an ogive. What's that? Well, it's also called a cumulative frequency curve. It's a graph. Cumulative frequency means that first we'll have to add the frequencies downwards. So 4 will be written as it is. Then 4 plus 9 is 13. 13 plus 9 is 22. 22 plus 7 is 29. 29 plus 8 is 37. And 37 plus 3 is 40. So this is called a cumulative frequency. And now we have to plot the points to draw a graph. What points should we plot? It's always UCL, CF, upper class limit, cumulative frequency. Remember, here we don't take the class mark or the midpoint while plotting the graph. We take the upper class limit. So that ideally would have been 30, 4, but this is not continuous. So we'll have to convert that into a continuous class interval first. So you can make another column and do that, or just remember it mentally. It's 20.5 to 30.5, 30.5 to 40.5, 40.5 to 50.5, and so on. Because only then can we have a continuous labeling on the x-axis. That is 10.5 to 20.5 to 30.5, or so on till 80.5. It has to be continuous. Even if we had to draw a histogram, we had to convert it into a continuous class interval, making sure that the width of the class interval is equal. Right now the width is 9, but once we make it continuous, 20.5 to 30.5, that's 10. 30.5 to 40.5 is 10, and so it's consistent. So that's why I have written the upper class limit as 30.5 and not 30. Then you plot these points. Note that there will be a jump or a kink between 0 to 20.5. I need not have written this 10.5. I could have started 20.5 out here as well. Class interval is here, and now we don't have frequency, we have CF, cumulative frequency, on the y-axis. That means the graph can only go up, it cannot come down, because it keeps on adding the previous number. So plot the points carefully and draw a smooth curve. Don't use ruler for this. That's how you draw an ogive or a cumulative frequency curve, which will be very useful for the next chapter as well, chapter number 24. Next, question 5a. They have given the histogram and we have to convert it into a frequency table. So that's easy. Class intervals can be ascertained by looking at the x-axis and frequencies are given. So just make a frequency table. No need to do the B one, but if you wish to, you can. How to draw an ogive? Well, first of all, add another column here of cumulative frequency, CF. Then another column for the points to be plotted. Remember, upper class limit, comma, cumulative frequency. And then draw a smooth curve. Now let's do the 7th question. Here they have given the table. First we have to find the cumulative frequency. And then we have to draw an ogive. So Roman number 1. This is the cumulative frequency table. And for Roman number 2, I have written on graph paper. For that, we'll have to write the points to be plotted, which makes it easy for us to draw the graph. Remember, it's upper class limit, comma, cumulative frequency. Here it's already continuous, so no issues. They have given the scale in the question, so you may want to work according to that, although I have ignored it right now and done it the way it fits on my x-axis. I've jumped or kinked from 0 to 6,500. Yeah, the first point was 7,000, 10, but we can't have a graph starting mid-air. So always write one extra coordinate on the x-axis before starting with the plotting of the points. So this will be 6,500, 0. So don't forget that. Even though the first point to be plotted is 7,000, 10, before that there should be a point called 6,500, 0. After plotting all the points, then you have to make a smooth curve. That's called an ogive. Next, 9.2. Now that's a very different kind of sum, because till now whatever cumulative frequencies we have calculated, they were of the less than type, which means that the numbers keep on increasing as we go down, because we are adding from top to bottom. So if they would have given us the cumulative frequency already, from that we can find out the frequency by subtraction, again from top to bottom. But in 9.2, which we are doing now, the 9.1 is for homework, we have to find the frequency from the CF, but it is of the more than type. So you can see the numbers are decreasing and not increasing. So we'll have to start from bottom to top. So remember, less than type is top to bottom and more than type is bottom to top. That's all you need to remember to be able to do the sum. So we'll make the table. This data was given. We have to find the frequencies. So let's start. Start from the bottom. So 7, write as it is. 18 minus 7 is 11. 21 minus 18 is 3. 31 minus 21 is 10. 36 minus 31 is 5. And so on. Subtract it and get the frequencies. If you total them, you will definitely get the answer as 100. So you can do that to cross-check your answers. Hi students, if you found this video useful, press the like button. Also, to enroll for my online lectures or online test series, email me or message me on Instagram. Check the description for more information.